Alright, let's do this. Hello everyone, my name's Phil Gallagher. I run Thraben University, a site for legacy death and taxes, though that's not what we're going to be playing today. We're going to be playing a donation deck list. We're going to be playing some Bug Loam. Now, traditionally when you think of Loam decks in Legacy, you either think of the lands deck, which is usually primarily red-green, or you think of four-color Loam. But this deck does not have like the punishing fire engine that you're used to seeing. There's no Knight of the Reliquaries here. Instead, we've got sort of a different package. So let's kind of look at what we have. We have Jace the Mind Sculptor, and that's kind of the appeal of this deck. Is you are a Chalice Jace deck, which is kind of a rare overlapping field. So the idea is that you have a large amount of card advantage, either virtual or actual, between Life from the Loam, Liliana of the Veil, Jace the Mind Sculptor, Search for His Content, and Baleful Strix, and to a lesser extent like Leovold shutting off opposing cantrips. You have a lot of different value-oriented cards that you can play. So there's a lot of ways that we can either win or effectively win the game. We can Wasteland Loam Lock our opponent. We can just like Jace Brainstorm and play a whole bunch of removal spells and just kill our opponent somehow. We can get just sort of a turn 1 or turn 2 Chalice and lock our opponent out. So the power of this deck is kind of in its flexibility. You have a lot of card advantage in various different ways. Sort of the downside of this deck is we're a blue deck that isn't playing Brainstorm or Ponder, which is somewhat blasphemy because those are some of the real appeals of blue. So this is a deck that sort of attacks from a weird angle. It gives up the power of its own cantrips in order to go and play Chalice. Now, in the sideboard, we kind of have a weird assortment of things. The sideboard is my creation here. The original deck list was from a Legacy Challenge, maybe about 9 or 10 months ago. I think the user was Alvis. And I took their sideboard and just kind of did some editing. So, for example, it had surgical extractions, and I've opted to play Leyline so that I don't run into like the awkward spot of like surgical and Chalice being good in the same spots. It had 3 Dread of Knights because D&T was really popular at the time that event was going on, and I've just kind of diversified the sideboard hate. And the Assassin's Trophy hadn't been printed when this deck list was made, so there were 3 Maelstrom Pulses in the sideboard. I diversified a little bit, decided to play an Assassin's Trophy here, an Assassin's Trophy here, and there used to be a Phantasmal Image in the main deck, which I think definitely fit the category of spicy one of. But since I can't brainstorm that back when it's bad, I've just opted to cut it from the deck. It's going well. This is stream number 2 of the day. I played a little bit of Phoenix this morning, and we ran through a league. Of note, the sideboard doesn't have any discard because it plays poorly with Chalice, so instead I have 4 counterspells here that work at least okay with Chalice. Flusterstorm is kind of unique in that if you cast it on a Chalice, you can still get all of the Storm Trigger ones to resolve. It only counters the original, so that's kind of cute. And then I have a Mind Break Trap as sort of a like emergency button or 4 mana hard counterspell. Hey, welcome. Yeah, so I don't have too much else to say. There's a couple oddities in here that you might not see a lot. So, for example, Fetid Pools is a enters tapped cycler for 2 mana. So we have 3 cyclers. We have Barren Moor, Fetid Pools, and Tranquil Thicket. The idea being that you combine those with Life from the Loam to do just silly things. So, I just kind of want to get into it tonight. Let's just battle. I imagine that these games are not going to go quickly. We're a very slow controlling deck, if I were to guess. And I went through and I deleted like most of my deck lists because I was getting tired of hunting through everything for what I was trying to find. See if I can grab another trophy before this season ends. I've played very little D&T in this season. It's been almost entirely non-D&T decks, so my trophy count is a little lower than normal. It is what it is. I've had a lot of really close calls on stream. I also have not played a ton of Magic when I'm not streaming. I got the Switch, and that thing is stellar. Really enjoying it. Yeah, so like my range has increased a lot in the past year. Ooh, yeah, our blue count for Force of Will is a little low. You're right. This is a donation deck list. This one is from Sammy Oddjob. The list is not their brew either. This is an edited version of something from a Magic Online challenge about 9 or 10 months ago. It's an interesting list. I haven't played something quite like this one, so I do want to see where it goes. Yeah, so it's sort of awkward, right? Because like usually in these sorts of decks, you have like 8 more stock blue spells because you have like Brainstorm and Ponder. Yeah, I like Lincoln's deck. Lincoln Baxter III. He has a website for it. It's something obvious like bugcontrollands.com. And it's got his recent deck list and everything he's done with it. It's a neat archetype. It tends to change a lot, and it's sort of his baby. That's his website, in case anyone was curious. Apparently, we're going to wait in the queue forever for this one. Nope. Nope, there we go. Battle. We get paired against a good player first round. We're also lacking things like Knight of the Reliquary. Alright. I'm going to keep my hand. We'll see if he's on like D&T or else. Nope! Ooh, Jesus, he on Phoenix? Yeah, I assumed my Chalice would go down the drain there. Alright, time number 1 that we've had Force of Will with no blue card. Alright, I assume that's going to be my Lily going down the drain. Yep. Nice. Alright. I'm pretty sure he's Phoenix. Like, it could be a Storm deck, but, like, that play pattern suggested to me Phoenix. I'll probably board about the same way for both. So it'll probably be play Ley Lines, play Flusters, maybe Mindbreak Trap. I'll consider Maelstrom Pulse, just because it can kill all of the Phoenixes that come back. So let's figure out what I don't love. I don't really love Abrupt Decay or Assassin's Trophy. Lurifix, I imagine that's hiding information. Could probably trim a life from the Loam pretty safely. Maybe multiple. Lily Last Hope seems kind of slow. My opponent probably has a few basics. Maybe this isn't just like a life from the Loam matchup at all. Maybe I just cut all of them. Like, if I treat my opponent like a combo deck, Life from the Loam is not stellar against combo. Still leaves me at 61. Search is blue. It pitches to Force. But I'm bringing in a few more blue cards, so my count's increased. Yeah, that's probably a fine cut. I was thinking either a Search or one of the Cycle lands. Alright, I have Force, blue card, and turn 1 Chalice. Keep. My opponent thought seizes me. I'm not sure whether or not I Force. I feel like the answer is yes. I think I'm going to. The Chalice is like my most valuable card here by an order of magnitude. I mean, I can't Flusterstorm that because I'll only counter it unless they pay 1. So that's happening. So they are Ant, not Phoenix. Yeah, so the original copy will get countered, but all of the Storm Trigger ones will happen. Mini Guy, thank you for following. Man, I really hope I get someone with this chalice. So this is the 3rd spell cast this turn. So I can just counter this. That's a neat trick. Can't even like Dark Ritual in response because the chalice is still there. I will be impressed if he can just like Cabal Rit, and go off somehow. Oh, this is just a baby tendrils. I'm going to continue to plus the Lily. Throwing away the Force doesn't feel fantastic, but it is what it is. Whew. Whew. Yeah, I'll bottom that. Ooh. Am I gonna die? I wonder if I'm gonna die. I'm at 8. I think the answer is yes. Past in Flames, Cabal Rit, Tendrils. Alright, so I boarded for Phoenix. It's actually Ant. I guess I can consider Deluge. Probably nothing else changes. Like, there's a theoretical world where I want to have some abrupt decays to answer artifact mana that's just played out. But I think most of the cards that I have are just better. Like, I've got a couple of random Maelstrom Pulses that can go after artifact mana if necessary. So this is from an MTGO challenge about 9 or 10 months ago. And I just did some small editing. The user was Alvas, A-L-V-A-S, I believe. Dr. Bill, thank you very much for your continued support. I think I'm going to mulligan this one. I'd really like something with something faster than turn 3 interaction. This is fine. I'll need one more land to play a Lily. But starting with a Leyline in play is at least moderately annoying. Yeah, this counts. Like, it's not the best interaction, but it is interaction. The double stream days are few and far between, but they feel good when they happen. Jace is not a land. That's going to have to go to the bottom. Lorandi, if you want to take a look at the deck list, click on the cards on the left-hand side. That's the Cardboard Live extension. So I am going to just play out Mox Diamond here. If my opponent, like, duresses or thought seizes me, I would like to not give them the option to take Mox Diamond. Like, this allows me to draw any land and still play a Lily on turn 1 or turn 2, even if my opponent has a discard spell. So, like, any land means I just have a Lily. There we go. Oh, I didn't really give it a lot of thought. Normally in these sorts of decks, you have Brainstorm and Ponder. So, like, you want to save the fetches for as long as possible. In this deck, you do have the one tapped cycle land, and I probably should have, like, fetched for that and end of Lampalot's turn if I was really sort of on my game and paying attention. All right, he discards a Bloodstained Mire. So I'm gonna need another piece of interaction in order to kind of lock this up. Well, maybe lock this up is strong. In order to feel like I'm in a decently advantaged position. There goes another land. Hey, I'm doing well. So now I'm going to go ahead and just get my fetid pools. All right, we have gotten a Thoughtseize. So luckily, Leyline of the Void means that some of the low resource kills are actually pretty hard. A lot of the low resource kills are fueled by Cabal Ritual adding 5 mana. But we've shut that off for the time being. So I'd like something like a Chalice of the Void or a Jace to start really doing things that matter. Oop, I may just die. Alright, I'm not dead, I don't think. So this will be Infernal Tutor for Infernal Tutor, then Infernal Tutor for Empty the Warrens. Ooh, Adnaz. There is no kill currently. There is still no kill. It is no longer safe to continue flipping. Well, that game was a bit of a roller coaster. Back in we go. So this is a turn 2 Leovold and potentially turn 3 Jace. I'm going to keep this hand. Because our opponent was very good and doesn't want to waste their own time. If I were to guess. Yep. It's Dredge this time. Boy, those ley lines are gonna do work this match. Since I already have a cycle land in my graveyard, if I draw a life from the Loam, I'm just gonna like get Fetid Pools tapped. I really don't want to draw that card later on. Okay. So I can Abrupt Decay either the LED or the Putrid Imp here, or I can just play Leovold. If I play Leovold, then I decrease the power of my opponent having something like Faithless Looting or Breakthrough, which would enable the most degenerate things that they could do. Yeah, if they just start dredging, it doesn't really do what I want. Well, Leovold also stops looting. Well, I guess kind of. Like, it really depends on what they have in hand right now. Yeah, I know what Putrid Imp does. Like, the question is, like, do they have another Dredger already, or was Putrid Imp a setup card? Because if they don't have the Dredger and this was just something that they were playing out with the intention of, like, casting Faithless Looting or Breakthrough to find a Dredger, then, like, Leovold is such a high upside play. Blue, black, green. If they already have the Dredger, this gets worse. But if they had, like, both a Dredger and Faithless Looting, they might have just gone ham on turn 1. And just, like, ignored playing Putrid. Oh, Creeping Chill version. My opponent is... What is the trick here? Does my opponent think this has flying already? Because it definitely does not. I mean... Yes? I can't think of anything. I'm just blocking. Do they, like, have like, a couple of bridges they're gonna discard? No? Okay. Can kill their Golgari Thug and turn it into a 2/2 zombie. I think I'm just gonna pass the turn. Actually, maybe I should just, like, decay the LED right now so that it can't be used in draw step to discard the Golgari Grave Troll again. Opponent is just F6ing through everything. No attacks with Leopold. We'll stay home for a little while. All right, one bridge in the graveyard. Do I want to put a chalice on one? Not really. I'd rather cast a Planeswalker. So it's possible that I just want to kill this Golgari Thug right now before it can be more than one creature with Bridge. It's sort of awkward because it would put another Dredger in the graveyard, and my opponent only has 2, though. I'm going to take that line. If I don't kind of get rid of that now, I think that I'm never going to, like, Ultimate Lily if there's a bunch of bridges in the graveyard. My opponent is attacking me with everything. So there's only one bridge in there, so I don't really want to trade my Leovold for bridge. So I'll just block a zombie. You don't really want to be the blue deck against Dredge in Game 1. It's a very bad place to be. Alright, so how do I win this game? Like, what's my actual path? I basically have to win with Planeswalkers, so I'm going to have to clear the board. I don't really have board wipes. So I guess I need to, like, mill out my opponent. Yeah. Ugh. I just want there to be so many more bridges in the graveyard so I can try to get rid of them. Alright, so my opponent sends everything at me. So that's 3, 6, 7 damage. If I take all of that, I will just die to a creeping chill. There's still 2 of those left. Maybe my opponent will stack these wrong and not get a zombie. No such luck. That's unfortunate. I really didn't have a great chance to go and play Chalice to prevent this. Alright, so that's three creeping chills. So we're gonna mold a ley line. So I probably want ley lines in. I'll probably play Deluge Pulse, Trophy, Fluster. Alright, Life from Loam. Terrible plan. Not playing that. Leovold, only really medium. Search, only really medium. Probably board those out. I don't particularly love Abrupt Decay. It can hit LED in some weird spots. I like Assassin's Trophy better because I can point those at land, and I like Pulse better because I can point it at all of the zombie tokens. Ugh, Liliana of the Veil, also pretty bad, right? Like, plus make you discard your dredgers. So I'm going to be left with very few ways to actually win the game. But if my opponent just concedes to ley lines, we don't need to care about that all that much. Yeah, I need force. I need to stop the first thing that can get their dredgers into the graveyard. Life's harder if they just, like, skip their first turn to, like, hard discard. Alright, I have Leyline of the Void and Force of Will. Keep. Well, my decision right before this league started to switch surgicals for ley lines has been rewarded. Two matches in a row. Alright, win condition in play. Yeah, that's fine. I'm gonna sit here and think about this, though. Pretend that I'm gonna counter it. Because, like, my opponent thinks I have surgicals. Unfortunately, they probably didn't force a will with that and get both of mine. Pause has backfired. Alright, I can see Leovold being a reasonable name there. Alright, so my opponent got rid of a bridge and a Narcomoeba. That's weird timing for a concession. Oh, no. They know about the Jace from their Cabal therapy. That's why they've conceded. Okay. That makes sense now. So this can Force of Will the first piece. They could put something into the discard pile, and then I only have a turn 3 play. I really just want a mulligan for Leyline. I've done it. Leovold can go on bottom. I'm going to have a really hard time casting that with this hand. Alright, my opponent has discarded Narcomoeba and Putrid Imp. I'm pretty likely to just snap off this Wasteland on my opponent. Dredge doesn't actually have that many mana sources. So I may take off their only thing that is allowing them to cantrip with their hand. That was incorrect. Putrid Imp resolves. We'll save the Chalice to put on 1. The way my opponent gets out of this game is by cantripping into something like a Nature's Claim or equivalent that can get rid of Leyline. So this was a donation deck list. This originally came from MTGO user Alvis's Legacy Challenge a little under a year ago. It was 9 or 10 months ago. I've made some edits for the current metagame and updated it with some cards that weren't out when the deck list was built. Yeah. When it works out, the whole, like, alright, opponent doing the, like, I will turn these creatures sideways, you can't stop me plan. But I probably can stop them. That is the issue. I mean, it's all they've got, right? Like, try to aggro me out and then hard cast a couple of Creeping Chills and hope it's good enough. I'm fine with unsummoning this Narcomoeba. Every land they cast. Icarid. I guess I need to counter that or my Jace dies. I kind of like brainstorming to find a land, and then trying to play both Strix and Leovold this turn. I could also just, like, plus my opponent into Oblivion. Like, either way, I'm going to play Baleful Strix this turn, so I'm going to start with that. Another Leovold. Alright, so I'm not hitting lands. So I'll just cast a Leo next turn, so I'll just go ahead and hide one. So actually, my win condition now is just beat my opponent to death. They're down to 8 life after cycling that Street Wraith, or they can just concede. Yeah, Captain QC, in retrospect, I probably should have done that and just, like, let the Jace die. I had forgotten that the Sacrifice It trigger was distinct from the Return trigger, so that if you hardcast it, you still sacrifice it. I thought it was going to stick around. So I did not realize those were separate triggers. I think that's the first time I've ever had someone cast Icarid against me. Like, casting, like, the imps and the thugs, that happens all the time. Icarid being cast is a rarity. Yeah, Leyline of the Void, real champ in this league so far. Turn 1 Chalice when I'm on the play. Keep. What land am I discarding? I think it's Wasteland. I think I want... Actually, it might be Fetid Pools. So I go, like, this turn, Mox, Bayou. The next turn, I have Black for Lily. Like, this enters tapped, and that entering tapped is maybe a liability. Alright, let's hope that, like most of the format, Chalice of the Void on 1 is good against them. Chalice of the Void, probably good against Polluted Delta. I'm going to start by discarding the Decay. My opponent might be on something unfair. It'll be super sucky if they're on Reanimator and I just help them a lot. That was not the case. So I could plus and keep this force by discarding my land, but I'd rather just kind of get Hellbent. I don't think I'm going to get anything with this Force of Will this game. Alright, so my opponent is probably Storm. Could still be something like Sneak and Show, though. But Ant is my current guess. Did you forget about Chalice? Seems like you forgot about Chalice. They forgot Chalice. Man, there's so much combo online right now. Just like general statement about the Magic Online metagame. That may not have been a mistake, by the way. That might be my opponent trying to get 1-drops out of their hand to get Hellbent for Infernal Tutor. This should lock it up. And they concede. Alright, so Leyline, Mind Break, Fluster, Pulse are probably fine. What did we do before? I think I cut Last Hope, Loams. I think I ended up trimming the... Or not that. That's good. I think I ended up trimming or cutting those and getting rid of like some number of the Abrupt Decays and trophies. I guess I'll keep 1 Decay for LEDs that get played out. Yeah, I mean, the main deck is meant to bully the fair decks, right? Like, you've got, like, Strix, Decays, Pulses, Planeswalkers. So, like, against the fair deck, you only need, like, 7 or 8 cards to side out because you're siding out Forces and Chalices. So you don't need a ton of cards. I wonder if a Search or a single Abrupt Decay is better. Search pitches to Force and can help find hate. Decay can get cards that are preemptively played out to play around Chalice. Unclear. What's a blue count? 4, 7, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Let's make it 16. This hand is insane. So I'm actually going to Chalice on 0 to stop all the artifact mana for the rest of the game, because I can Chalice on 0 and hold up Flusterstorm this turn. Putting Chalice on 1 is, like, objectively better. But I think, like, since... Well, if I just pass, I still have Flusterstorm up. Like, I can Flusterstorm... My opponent's discard spell, if they have one, or I can Flusterstorm them starting to go off. It's much, much harder for me to die if I play Chalice of the Void. I'm going to Chalice. I think this is a very close decision. But if I save my Chalice, then I'm essentially, like, priced into using the... Or if I save my Chalice to cast next turn, I'm basically priced into countering literally anything with Flusterstorm. It's possible I should just, like, nab that Brainstorm, but I'm not going to. My opponent discard spells me. I will Flusterstorm that, because it would take a discard spell anyway, or a counter magic anyway, and I'd rather not let them have the information. All right, and they are Brainstorm locked. So I actually have very few green cards left in the deck. So I'm going to get Underground Sea so that I can guarantee to have black for Lily. The Ponder was not a shuffle on turn 1. Perfect. All right, everything is looking fantastic here. On my turn, I'll play Leovold over Lily. I just kind of want the clock in play here. And this is a relatively disruptive card as well. Like, it really annoys discard spells at me, cantrips up from my opponent's side. Yes, and there is the dream of Tendrils U. Oh, I don't think so, when you get to, like, draw into your Mindbreak Trap. That's one of those things that was hyped up as big game. Echoing Truth, targeting Chalice of the Void. I'm probably supposed to counter that. So if I force pitch force, next turn I can play Lily, play Misty, discard whatever I draw for turn, and still have Flusterstern up. Well, I'm concerned that I might just, like, accidentally die if I don't force that. So I think I'm gonna counter it. I'm just thinking, like, do I want to force pitch force so I can potentially have Fluster up next turn? Or do I keep a force? I think I'm going to force pitch force. Alright, so opponent did not have any discard spells. And it's super unfortunate. I said always yes previously to Leovold. That is tilting. Somebody clip that one. Oh, it's not lessons learned, right? Like I absolutely would have skipped the Thoughtseize draw, like unquestionably. I just had said always yes for moto reasons. So we would have won that one on paper. That was pretty great. So this is a hand that becomes very good if I hit a land. If I hit a land, I have like Flusterstorm up on turn 1 into Leovold into Lily. I think the upside of this hand is extremely high. So I'm going to keep this one. If I do miss out on land for more than 1 or 2 turns, though, I'm just going to lose. But I accept that. We have Leyline of the Void, which has been the best card in the deck these last few matches. Kind of playing around Chalice a little bit now. Well, that is a land. I will probably Flusterstorm like literally anything my opponent plays. That I can. Like, if they Ponder, Brainstorm, Preordain, I'm snapping off this Fluster on it. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure that Fetid Pools should be in the deck. So when my opponent doesn't have lands and needs to like cantrip into a land, Leovold is phenomenal. Leovold, a great blue hate bear, because that's a thing. Opponent discards a Brainstorm. If you're talking about the discarded card from last turn was Brainstorm. And this turn it was Cabal Ritual. The Desperation Ponder. They did not shuffle. So whatever is there, they like it. Preordain gets pitched this time. Rootwater Thief, sweet. I've played a lot of that card in Combo Cube. Yeah, I mean we've got him on a 2-turn clock here. Ooh. Okay. Which is better, keeping a Flusterstorm or plussing Lily and getting a card out of their hand? I think I pass. I think this card is like just too good to throw away here. I've got him on a 2-turn clock, and I don't think they can win through like Leo, Leyline, and Fluster. And then basically anything I discard next turn, like anything I draw next turn, I can just discard. And I don't think my opponent has a discard, because those would have made sense to for them to discard already to the Lily. It's targeting Leo. I'm gonna counter that. Leovold, Commander confirmed. All right. Undefeated so far with this deck. We are 3-0. Feeling good. We're powering through these matches a little faster than I thought we would as well. I thought these were going to be like crazy, like long slog fests, but it's not the case. We're playing against like exclusively combo decks though, so that's probably part of the reason why these matches are going faster. Oh man. I haven't played that format in so long that I had like forgotten about commander damage. This is probably not surprising to anyone, but when I played Commander, I did not play commanders that got into the red zone. I know, shocking, right? I mean, Magic with a bigger screen is great. Like I do think the format is fun, but I've gone too far down the competitive rabbit hole and I can't go back. How deep am I going on turn 1? Well, I'm keeping this hand. I can cast a Chalice on turn 1. The rest of the hand is kind of hot garbo, but it's fine. I'm going to keep my Wasteland. I think it has the best chance of being relevant. I'm only really punished if I draw Leovold. Now I'm not punished if I draw Leovold. Alright, let's cycle this. I'm gonna use this mana. It's awkward if I draw Strix, but then I have, like, Force of Will. So I think my opponent is probably a Dark Depths deck. And this is probably the bait land. That being said, it's probably correct to wasteland this anyway, so that my opponent can't go land, Vampire, Hexmage, rip the counters off this Chalice. So, like, note, I understand that's probably a bait, but there's a huge punish if I'm wrong. Ooh, Ancient Tomb. Oh. Alright, so we're playing against Eldrazi. So our hand is Garbo. So if I minus and my opponent hits a creature, it's super unfortunate. But I think it's what I need to do. Alright, let's see how bad this is. Reality Smasher. It's a creature. It's a scary one. Hopefully they don't have more lands. Alright, Thought Knot for Force of Will is fine. Okay, that was like the best possible draw. Alright, come on. Wasteland off the top. I will trade this Force of Will for a card at random from their hand. This threatens an Edict and probably forces an attack in on their end. Yeah, I got an Endless one. That's great. You know, that's at least a 4/4 at this stage of the game. This is probably the Reality Smasher coming in. Yep. So everything is going at Liliana. So I guess the question is, which one of these cards do I need to answer? The Reality Smasher has Trample and is a problem card, but the Thought Knots here would let me cantrip into potentially another Strix. Neither one of those can be hit by Abrupt Decay. Neither one of those gets eaten by Lily Last Hope activation. Neither one gets walled by Leovold, so it's pretty close. The way I win this is probably by, like, chaining removal spells repeatedly. So I'm going to try to get another removal spell here. Yeah, like, the block that I made is the play to try and win the game. Like, if I block Reality Smasher, that has, like, the greater short-term potential if things kind of go wrong. But the play I made is sort of the highest upside play, where if I hit, like, Strix, land, Strix, I can really win this game. Yeah, I mean, like, this totally counts. This is a removal spell. Like, we just killed the 2/2, but it's something, right? If I were the opponent, I would not attack the Lily. I would just go to my dome here. Like, hit me for 9, threaten lethal the next turn. They disagree. All right. Opponent just has... Oh, Jitte. All right. That's slightly annoying, but not the end of the world. Actually, maybe it is, because now if I draw Strix, Strix isn't an out, because they can just nugget. All right, now I am dead on board. Yeah, that's fine. Strix can die to trample damage. That's a-okay. Like, we'd still be trading. All right, so for the first time, we're not bringing in ley lines. So probably play Deluge, Pulse, Trophy, Edict, and I may end up playing Mindbreak Trap just as a 4-mana exile counterspell. Oh, no problem, Arkin. I didn't get a chance to stick around and watch your stream. I was starving earlier, but I hope it went well. Oh, like once the Jitte hits play and like they have Jitte counters on it, like everything's awful, and Strix is a non-card. So I guess like what's bad after this? Is it Leovold? Leovold can trade with some of the smaller creatures, but he's like really hard to cast. Is it Force of Will because of Cavern? Like Lily Last Hope still kills the Mimics, and it shrinks everything else. I kind of think it's Leo. Leo's a hard to cast 3/3. And then I think it's either like cut Lily or cut a Force. I believe Baltimore is the same weekend as an anime convention that I'm presenting at, so I cannot do that one. It's super unfortunate. On the draw, I think I'm going to cut Lily. Yeah. Yeah, so the anime convention I'm going to is the 1st through 3rd, so it's overlap. So this hand's fine. Like, I have double Strix and Abrupt Decay. I don't actually care about Thorn all that much with this hand. I can get Trop and cycle Tranquil Thicket, which I think I'll do right now. Now I can force it, but I think I value Baleful Strix more than this Thorn. So I think I'm just going to let that go. So their own Thorn hurt them there a little bit. They exiled a Simian Spirit Guide in order to play Sorcerous Spyglass. So they'll get to name my Liliana of the Veil, but I don't know that that was really worth their cards. They probably don't have Thought-Knot Seer or Reality Smasher, or they would have cast those this turn. And I will go ahead and attack in with one Baleful Strix. Alright, so now probably not going to get to counter a big fatty. Alright, can't be countered. That's happening. Alright, opponent takes the Abrupt Decay. Don't actually mind that. I've got a bunch of Baleful Strix floating around. That is counterable. While it's not an impressive card, I should probably take the opportunity to counter it. Literally any card that I can counter. I have to fetch first in order to do that. Gladly accept that trade there. Oh, Life from the Loam. That's excellent, but slow. If I had a Wasteland, I would snap Life from the Loam right now. Instead, I think I'm just going to Baleful Strix this turn. And then next turn I can start Loam shenanigans if I so desire. Oh my god. Yes! Yes! That was probably the best possible draw there. So I can Mox Diamond, pay 1 for it, pay 3 mana, Life from the Loam, target Wasteland. Wasteland, thicket, and I'll get the forest back. And my opponent scoops it up there. We got some very fortunate draws that game. Can't lie, chat. That wasteland off the top for the Baleful Strix draw was exactly what I wanted. I'm gonna mulligan this one. I'm just gonna stumble and die. His hand is reasonable. This is tough. This deck's great. Well, we're 3-0 right now. The deck has a lot of interaction. I think it's cool. If I top this and I miss that third land, I might have a little bit of trouble, but this card's very good. I'm gonna top it. So I'll have like, well, that is aggressive. And I'm less scared now. I was more scared of just like turn 2 Reality Smasher coming down. Alright, that's an annoyance, but again, I played around this pretty well last game. So I'm going to pull the tapped land out of my deck now. I really don't want to draw that. I want to be hitting land drops. Oh man, Mark, yeah, I saw some of your screenshots that you posted. You were doing some degenerate things. I got a good laugh out of the status you posted where you said you like beat someone who had like 4 pieces of like absurd power in their deck. So I have double Deluge here, so like that gets to stick around. They're taking Decay so that I can't like draw a land and nug this with Thorn of Amethyst. Okay, I can take Matter Reshaper here and kind of hope they whiff. Playing towards me drawing 2 lands in a row for Deluge. Really, I only need to hit the first one because then I can Loam for the second one. But I don't want this to be in play later when I Deluge. Alright, they reveal our board. That's fine. Alright. I've missed. Fudge. Yeah, okay, yeah, I could totally see not blocking, just take the 3 there, and then hold back the 4s from Thought-Knot's ears on following turns. So any other creature, and I have no outs. Actually, this is double thorn, not single thorn, so I probably don't have any outs anyway. I hate it when it like freezes up like this. I really wanted to see like what my next card was, because I wanted to see if like topping the Lily at the beginning of the game was costly. Oh well, that's okay. Like we're 3-1. I think Eldrazi was a fine matchup. The Thorns just really punished my stumble that game. Oh snap. Isn't that Humans deck really good? Mox Diamond Mirror. An opponent has the Mox Diamond instead of me. Oh, it's lands. So I can start loaming, but I kind of just want to, like, no fear, abrupt decay this Mox Diamond. There's not a ton of colored mana sources on the other side of the table. YOLO. Leovold seems pretty okay against my opponent, who basically only has her shot in port right now. Next turn I can stick either Jace or Lily, followed by the up. But well. Wasteland would be pretty okay. So what are my outs to end step Merit Lodge? So I have 4 Wastelands or 4 Baleful Strix as the only cards that matter right now. I need to hit one of them. Life from the Loam for Wasteland gives me the most looks. So now I need to play Jace and hit Wasteland. I don't think my opponent would make it mid-combat in order to block my Leovold, but it's like technically correct to make this attack. That's the moment where I would make it. Yep. And now I have no... Well, it's not true, right? I guess like there's some world with a Mox Diamond situation where I get Mox Diamond and Strix. That could do it. Alright, opponent just naturally had the Dark Depths kill there. That's super unfortunate for me. Alright, so I'll probably play Leyline. Assassin's Trophy can blow up some lands. Mindbreak Trap is something I can exile a Punishing Fire or a Loam, so I might end up playing that. And I probably need to play Edicts. I don't want to be playing Chalices. Yeah, we're playing against Jarvis, whom I'm probably going to host immediately after this match. Crush him and then host him for the ultimate Getcha Gotcha. I like it. Lily of the Veil, also not amazing against the opposing Loam deck. Yeah, and Mark, I wish you luck in like trying to tune a nice fair deck to your liking this year. That process can be super rewarding. So this is another one of those, like, I might keep this and just, like, lose for not drawing a second land, but I think I've got time, so I'm going to keep this one. So we are 3-1 and down a game in the last match here. All right, we're going to have another one of those games where I miss on lands. Choke is strong. So I can Mock Star Diamond, discard Misty, go and fetch up my Bayou, which is not an island. Then go black and blue for Strix. And I am okay with getting rid of that Thespian stage forever. There's another one. No basic on the battlefield to copy, so he can't blink this activated ability. I don't know how many Thespian Stages lands are playing at this point, but I imagine it can't be that many. So much for choke. All right, put the vice grips on real hard that game. It was super fortunate that I actually got to play around choke relatively well. So how many answers to choke do I have right now? I have 6, 4 decays, 4 assassin's trophy. It's probably fine. I could respect choke a little bit more by boarding in a pulse over this Mindbreak trap. I don't know how realistic it is to like get to 4 mana to Mindbreak trap a Loam. This is also just like one more answer to things like Tireless Tractor that can hit play as well. I will keep. Have Leyline again. Leyline is just like the card of this league. It's just been the best card in the deck. Discard Wooded Foothills. Exploration's fine. I, in fact, do think that's a thing. I in fact, have one scheduled with Honorog. Curse and Grip my Leyline. Well, not much I can do about that. Alright, Wasteland the Fetid Pools. So if he's got just Loam left, boy, am I in a bad position. Uh-oh. I mean, Lily about to feel so good other than the fact that I just, like, die because that was my end step. Womp womp. Yeah, I know. Like, just needed another half a turn there. Alright, so this deck was sweet. Like, I enjoyed playing this a lot. Like, we only went 3-2, but other than a little bit of stumbling in the last two matches, like, the deck was certainly viable. I don't know that this is better than other, like, Chalice Loam shells. Like, 4-color Loam is probably a more consistent deck. There's a bit of awkwardness in the mana base. Like, I don't know, like, Fetid Pools is actually good. I think the third Cycler is probably a little bit ambitious. I wish that was just an untapped land. But overall I was happy with this deck. No regrets whatsoever about playing it. So I usually do a little bit more of a debrief, but I'm just going to go ahead and host Jarvis since I just got done playing him. And I will be back on, let's see, Wednesday. I believe Wednesday's D&T. Let me double check here. Yeah, so on Wednesday night, I will be back for some D&T content. I hope you all enjoyed tonight. I certainly did. There was another stream this morning, so if you're looking for something to watch tomorrow over lunch and you didn't catch that one live, it's up on the Thraben University YouTube page. If you enjoyed my content tonight, please consider following, subscribing, doing a donation deck list, or something else to support me. I've got one spot left for January, and other donation decks will go into February. Good night, folks, and have fun watching more Legacy.